Welcome to the next installment of the Train Vicar. Today I'm in the graveyard of St. Paul's, which is right next to the railway tracks. But it's also, of course, right next to the church. And apparently that's why it's called a graveyard. The word cemetery is used for any burial ground, but the word graveyard is only used when it's associated with a church. So now that we know that terminology, we can get onto the video, which is about cemeteries, graveyards, and trains. There are a few cemeteries right next to railway lines in New Zealand. The graveyard of St. Paul's is one of them. St. Barnabas in Warrington, which is on the coast just north of Dunedin, is also right next to the railway line, but I don't have a photo or video of both the train and the graveyard. Then there is the urupā of the Hui Te Rangiora Church at Puketeraki, which is also right beside the railway line. And again, this is also on the coast north of Dunedin. In the middle of the North Island, the urupā of Poroʻotarau is right next to the North Island main trunk, and trains rush past it. This small cemetery is quite remote, but it has a few interesting graves. Of course, the famous urupā at Taupiri Mountain beside the Waikato River is also next to a railway line, and this footage is from a newsreel. As far as civic cemeteries go, there are two large cemeteries in Auckland. A railway line runs alongside the Waikumete Cemetery in Auckland. And of course, in the past, there even used to be funeral trains from Auckland to Waikumete or Glen Eden, particularly during the 1918 flu pandemic. The Purewa Cemetery lies in the valley right next to the main trunk line in Auckland. Trains have passed the cemetery for close to 100 years. These are quite peaceful surroundings, but this peace was threatened by a major motorway. By now there's a cycleway alongside this railway line, but I haven't been back since the cycleway was built. Well, by now I'll jump a bit to the South Island again. Glenmark Cemetery in North Canterbury is also right beside the railway line. This photo was taken from the cemetery, but doesn't actually show it. And then, of course, there is the Timaru Cemetery, which is also right beside the railway line. No doubt there are more cemeteries beside railway lines in New Zealand. Let me know, but I don't think I've been to any more than the ones that I've shown here. I actually quite like to spend some time at cemeteries. They are normally really peaceful. In German, they are even called peace yard, and they may give the deceased peace as expressed in a prayer by John Henry Newman. Support us, Lord, all the day long of this troubled life, until the shadows lengthen and the evening comes. The busy world is hushed, the fever of life is over, and our work is done. Then, Lord, in your mercy, give us safe lodging, a holy rest, and peace at the last. Amen. As you can imagine, I've taken quite a few funerals. Often people cannot face the finality of death. And often at least half the congregation thinks that Nena is now smiling at them from heaven above, or that she has become an angel or something similar. The Bible and Christian theology take death far more seriously. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. As those going to church through a graveyard know all too well, In the midst of life, we are in death. Death casts a shadow over all our life. We are always under the threat of death. Therefore, our life is full of care that death does not grasp us or our loved ones too early. At this time of the year, Christians remember that death was allowed to do the worst in Jesus. There was a struggle between death and life. Jesus descended into hell and was brought up again by the creative call of the Father. So Easter is about the person going down into darkness and the dissolving of all things and being called again out of nothingness. That is the full victory over death.